All right, we're done.
Nailed it. Got to pee so bad.
Okay, go pee.
Let's see and make sure it's still recording. Wouldn't that be fun if it wasn't?
No. I would kill myself.
I would believe in God. If he stopped this from happening twice in a row.
Welcome once again to Noah's Snark, where two former religious types and current snarks take a look at religious media on its own terms.
My name is Hillary.
And I am Josh, aka Ivan Ilyich.
You're gonna sound like you're coming and going. Swirling in the chair.
I'm always coming.
Coming and oh god, no. No, we're not starting strong now. You're setting a tone.
We're going for the gusto today, kids.
Again, I don't know what a gusto is.
The gusto, the whole
Shebang?
shebang.
Okay,
That's
where does
the
that
one.
come from?
I'm not sure.
Sounds Italian.
It might be.
I'll take it. Go.
Do you know Columbus Day is an invention of the Italians because they wanted a famous Italian to celebrate?
I did know that. Thanks, BuzzFeed. It's sad. It's sad that was their choice. I feel bad for the Italians.
Yeah.
He's not a great choice.
Leonardo da Vinci, Marco Polo.
Goddamn, Leonardo da Vinci definitely should have.
Whatever.
But he was gay.
It's time that we learn about the dire situation that the entire Christian world is facing these days, especially in the realm of the academic.
Mm-hmm.
Today, it's finally second try.
Second try.
God's Not Dead Day.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. If you hadn't heard the previous one, we were supposed to release this episode last week, but it was a mess.
Yeah. More sound issues.
It was not, yeah.
Not sure where they came from. Have some guesses.
Have been fixed since, because the VeggieTales one was done after that.
Yeah, so clearly fine.
So it was weird.
Yeah, maybe some divine intervention. Hard to say.
God is not dead. He ruined our audio.
God's alive and he's fucking us up.
I also have an extra special bonus for the end of this episode. Because of the mix-up with the previous God's Not Dead recording, we did not get to experience out loud Hillary's reaction to knowing we're doing VeggieTales.
Oh, that's
which we
right.
released last week. So, I'm going to include, after the end song of this one,
Right.
the little bit
Well, we got a little after credit action.
little after credit action where I revealed to Hillary that we were doing VeggieTales. I'll just do the whole segment.
Okay, great.
Our film today stars young Josh Wheaton, a devout Christian and lawyer-to-be who comes into conflict with a different sort of god, Hercules.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you should clarify, not actual Hercules.
True, Kevin Sorbo.
Kevin Sorbo of Hercules fame features heavily in this film.
Is the second main character.
Is the second main character. Oof.
And that's just the A-plot.
Yeah.
Let's get going.
Once we get to around the X plot, I'm not playing anymore.
There are
too
how many
many
plots would you
plots.
say are in this movie?
17.
7? Like legit, like
literally,
7?
Like, I think actually 7, 6,
6 or 7, right?
something like that.
There's a lot.
Half of which even mean anything or
No, yeah, there's nothing.
yeah, have any point.
Most things have an A and a B plot for a reason.
Right.
Once you get to C, you're pushing it, but maybe.
Yeah.
D, you're done.
Yeah.
And this movie has...
We're swerving into Love Actually territory, but at least I found that engaging.
So let's get going, because I am hype as fuck, even to do this the second time. I can talk about this movie forever.
As you know, I have the memory of a goldfish, so this is like the first time for me. And I'm a little
You
drinkier.
tell every man that?
Like a Virgin is my theme song. Gross. I don't want to say that Nope. I take that back.
Alright, and as always, we should start with our first impressions. Going in, what did you expect? Did you get what you expected?
It was exactly as I expected it, which is just moronic, drivel, nonsense, terrible, adjectives. The only expectation I had was for it to be terrible because I knew you were so excited about it.
Yeah.
Which means it's going to be one of the worst ones that we do, because that's how your enthusiasm works.
Mm-hmm. for this show especially.
Yeah.
I love the worst ones.
Yeah. You were too excited about this one for me to feel okay about it. I went in just prepared for the worst, and it delivered. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, that is more or less what my first impression was years ago when this movie came out.
Right. When you saw it in the theater?
I did see it in theaters. I loved every second of it. In the worst way. I hated it.
Right.
It's awful. I knew it was going to be, and it delivered on every promise it made in the trailer.
I think I actually remember the trailer was coming out.
Yes.
I don't remember thinking, oh, I need to see that. That's where you and I differ.
Of good things we can say about this movie, the biggest might be that it delivers everything it says it's going to.
And it does not misrepresent itself in the trailer. No, You're right. We'll give it that.
All right, so let's go ahead and break it down. We open the film with a montage of our various characters over a sappy tune.
Various characters.
And this is a long montage because there are a lot of characters.
So many fucking characters.
We were not kidding when we said there's about 7 plots in this movie.
And the truth is, I'm going to let you say all the names up front here, and then I'm just going to call them by the nicknames I have for them.
That's perfect.
Okay, great, because I don't think even our audience is going to follow these names.
Yeah, okay, so let's go through them. I would point out, from my personal opinion, none of these montage characters are particularly interesting, except for one, and that's Aisha. And she'll come up later, but we'll talk about her right now, because she is apparently Muslim. Our first experience with her is her dad driving her to work, and he makes her wear a niqab as he drives her to school.
Did you look it up to see if that's what that was called? Because I could never get all the headdresses right.
I'm reasonably certain it is a niqab, because the niqab is the head covering with the face covering, but you still have, like...
the eyes.
Yeah, but your eyes are good.
Gotcha.
The issue with this one is I'm reasonably certain it's one piece, so I don't know how that's supposed to work.
It wraps.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it still counts as a niqab, because she uses it as one at the very least. You know?
Yeah.
I guess theoretically it could all just be a scarf, but it depends on how big it is and how well you use it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we apologize if that's not the actual, what it's actually called,
right.
But we're doing our best.
I am not an expert,
right.
But I believe it is a niqab.
Sounds good to me.
But Dad drives her to school, but as soon as she gets out of his sight, because he drives away, she removes it, so she's not interested in actually wearing it. That's what we know.
Right.
We also come across Amy, who is a red-headed blogger / reporter.
Yeah. She's a left-wing... specifically, she's like a left-wing... I don't think... It has to be blogger. I can't call her a reporter.
Yeah, she's a blogger.
I cannot call her a journalist. I think she'd call herself a journalist.
No, I mean, she even referred to her website as a blog multiple times.
Did she?
Yeah. So it's not like... I don't think she has delusions of grandeur, except delusions of success.
Maybe that, yeah.
Yes. But not like, I'm a journalist. I'm a serious journalist.
She's a blogger that we're supposed to see as the audience members as just the bad guy, one of the Christian persecutors.
After Amy, we see Martin, who is our Chinese exchange student.
Right, we're going to call him Long Duk Dong.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are. Because he is a stereotype, and it hurts me.
It's true. We also see Dean Cain, whose name I don't know. His name is Dean Cain.
Unnecessary.
Spoiler
alert, this character is not necessary whatsoever, but we're still going to go over it because we are good reporters.
He's a very fancy businessman. We have Mina, who is the girlfriend.
Of Hercules, yeah.
Of Hercules.
Right.
And we have... David A.R. White. Playing a pastor named David.
Right.
And that's...
Let's not challenge him too much with the acting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we have.
Yeah.
We
have his African buddy.
Well, he hasn't been introduced yet.
You mean that you're just...
This is just the montage. This is just what we learned in the very beginning.
Damn it. So much information, but no information at the same time.
After we get this montage with everyone, and this is not including... None of those characters that I just mentioned are the main characters.
No.
Those are just side characters.
Right.
Because we meet our main character after it, and it's our hero, Josh Wheaton, going to register for classes.
Right. Did you ever hear... every time they said his name, did you hear Joss Whedon?
Because
I heard that every time.
I'm used to my name. His name is my name.
Right, but your last name is Whedon.
Yeah, that's true.
Josh Wheaton and Joss Whedon are too close.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not going to... Don't call him Joss from here on, because I think it's unkind of Joss Whedon. But I just want you to know that that's all I was thinking.
We find out that his humanities elective is philosophy, and it's with one Professor Radisson.
Elective.
It is an elective.
Important.
Yes. The student helping him figure out his registration notices that Josh is wearing a cross around his neck, and he tells him that he may want to consider a different professor, because if not, he's walking into a snake pit.
Right.
Josh doesn't back down on his decision to take this class because he would have to rearrange his whole schedule.
Right.
And so he's told that it's his funeral, and the student helps him get officially put in the system. We also see Martin here at the same registration drive or whatever it is.
Right.
And this is when he makes his first real line where someone asks him, he's from the Democratic
Republic of China?
Yeah.
People's Republic of China, I think.
Yeah.
And the girl's like, are you serious?
And he goes, yes, serious. Always serious.
Always serious. Yes. As you know, Chinese people are very serious peoples.
Yeah. Especially Martin, apparently. Mm-hmm. We then cut back to Dean Cain. And we see that he's a very famous, fancy businessman who doesn't have time for any nonsense. And we learn this because Amy, the blogger, calls him asking for directions. And he won't help her until she tells him what's in it for him.
Right.
Because, you see, he's very important.
He's very atheist, and so he has no reason to help other people.
We then learn that Amy is on her way to ambush interview the Duck Commander, Willie Robertson.
Which took me a minute. I don't know those guys. I knew she was coming up to a guy entering a church for no reason. It's seemingly no reason. Just some guy going to church and looking pretty scraggly for it. Mm-hmm. And the only way I figured out who it was is because she says something about murdering ducks. Yeah. And something about, like, trying to make him feel bad about killing ducks. Yeah. Because she's a vegetarian, as all liberals are. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, I guess he's a Duck Dynasty person? Why is he getting this much screen time? He's not an actor.
He's a Duck Dynasty guy.
He's a Duck Dynasty guy, yeah. I still don't know why he was in this film.
We'll get back to Amy, because we just know she's headed to her ambush. But the thing we're supposed to learn here is that what's in it for me is just his whole thing. He's fancy. He's a business guy.
I like that you say, what's in it for me is his thing because he's fancy. No, what's in it for me is because he's a fucking sociopath.
That's what I should be saying.
Fancy businessmen don't equal fucking what's his name? Bateman. No, they don't. What are you talking? Why are you looking at me with your eyes like that?
I'm hoping the audience can hear my expression.
No, they can't. I'm going to tell them. You're looking at me like I'm maybe wrong? This is not American Psycho.
He's American Psycho.
He's American Psycho, but not because he's a businessman. That is not a blanket statement.
After seeing how Amy and Dean Cain interact, we cut to our first class session, which I guess happened same day, I don't know, but that's fine. And we meet Dr. Radisson, and he is the one and only Kevin Sorbo. He is a very smug person right away. Yeah. And he offers a list of what he calls towering intellects that he's written on this whiteboard. They include Nietzsche, Ayn Rand, Camus, Richard Dawkins, Noam Chomsky, Democritus, and a whole bunch of others. Bertrand Russell. He asks the class what they have in common. And, after a couple of bad guesses, it is revealed to be atheism. He then continues to give a very poor definition of atheism, so he's off to a really shit start, especially for a philosophy teacher.
And what was his definition?
He says atheism is the strong position of there is no God, where agnosticism is the weaker position of simply doubting it.
Weaker position?
Yeah.
I don't see why you can see... Yeah, no.
It's not what atheism means.
Right.
It's
what would you define atheism as?
Lack of belief in a God.
Lack of belief. Yeah. Not like a firm disbelief.
There is some distinction most people acknowledge between what's called strong atheism and weak atheism. Mm-hmm. Strong being there is no God and there's evidence for that. Right. And weak being don't believe it, don't see evidence for it. Right. Strong atheism is what he's describing, but he's using it as the umbrella term. Gotcha. And it's not the umbrella term. It is, in fact, the point at which I think you've gone too far, because to prove a negative, which you need to do for strong atheism, is just not a thing that's usually possible.
Right. Okay. That makes sense to me. You know? And I consider, agnosticism to me, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Cool. Is acknowledgement that we can't know.
Yes, and that's what it means. Yeah. Because literally, theism is God, right? So atheism without God. Gnosis, Gnosticism, knowledge. So agnosticism is without knowledge.
Right. Okay.
That's it.
I'm both of those things.
Right. You can, and
yeah.
atheistic agnosticism
Yeah.
is a position most atheists would consider themselves to fall in.
Right.
Because you don't believe it.
Right.
Which is a separate question from whether you think you can prove it.
Right. Totally.
That's it. You got it. How does this philosophy professor not get it?
I don't know, Kevin Sorbo. You should have done more research.
But yeah, so it's a whole thing, and
well, we'll find out by the end why he's not so strong in this. Yeah,
and it's annoying when anybody does it, but he's supposed to be a philosophy professor.
Right.
He knows the difference.
He's a philosophy professor being written by Christians.
Right. Who either don't know the difference or pretend they don't know the difference because it helps their straw man.
Right. You're probably right. Like, there's a chance. That gives him a lot of credit.
To start this class out, on the very first day, he proposes that all the students refuse to waste their time debating the existence of a supernatural being by having everyone write, "God is dead," on a piece of paper and turning it in.
Right. Day one.
Day one.
Of a low-level, elective philosophy class. Yeah.
Just skip it over, and if everyone will write it down, that'll end that. Now, I'm not really against skipping the question of the existence of God in a philosophy class, because it tends to get very emotional and people get really upset.
Right.
And no one ever really seems to change their mind.
No.
So I can see, like, that not being the emphasis. But the notion of, we're going to skip it, but you have to agree with me, is absurd.
Idiotic. Yeah. Not idiotic because professors actually do this.
Right.
I'm going to need people, I need people to write in if you know a professor that did anything like this at all. People like my clinking ice. Spoiler alert, Hillary is drinking. Also, for the listeners, it is the 4th of July here today while we're recording. So I am celebrating the birth of our nation and the deaths of so many.
The deaths of America as it happens before our eyes.
I was going to say the deaths of our enemies, whether they're actual enemies or not. That's why my red toenail polish is so red.
But yeah, so just the idea of making everyone agree with you is absurd in its face. But before we see what our hero will do, we meet, again, David A.R. White and his African friend, who has only just arrived in the country. I don't know this man's name. I never learn it.
It's not important.
We are also introduced to their catchphrase. God is good all the time, and all the time, God is good. So these two guys are definitely, like, together, right?
I mean, they definitely have a rapport.
Yeah, but it's not just, like, we're friends.
Yeah, but also, like, there's just so much weirdness around this African man. Like, where did he shows up, just stops by David A.R. White's church from Africa.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I just decided to come visit you.
No, I'm pretty sure this is the one where they're going to Disneyland.
But he's acted surprised when he saw him.
He did.
Yeah, when he was like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "I was just..."
We're going to fucking vacation. We talked about this.
Well, yeah, but like that's not how it was introduced. It was introduced like he just swung by from Africa.
No, you're right.
For no reason. And then the rest of the movie is about them trying their best to get to Disney World.
Yeah.
I say Disney World with a high-pitched voice like that because it doesn't really... It's Disneyland, Disney World, something in that realm.
Right.
These two grown men are going... Nothing against grown men going to Disney World. Disney World's the best. I prefer no children there. That makes it better. But these are just two pastors, one from Africa, one from America, just taking a road trip to a Disney World type place.
Right.
I don't know what the fuck is going on.
No one does. The writers don't.
Oh my god. Anyway.
So now we're back in class. And Josh can't bring himself to write "God is dead" on his piece of paper, so he and Radisson have already come to metaphorical blows, but we'll come back to that.
Will we?
Radisson explains that if he cannot write this down, then he will need to defend the antithesis. That is, God is not dead, and he will need to do it in front of the entire class. Should he fail to do so, he will fail 30% of the class.
Yep. Sure.
They then agree.
Arbitrary number.
Yeah. They then agree that he will have 20 minutes at the end of each of the next 3 classes to present his case and leave it up to the class vote on whether he has succeeded. And for his trouble, Radisson adds another thing to the class reading list for the next time, which makes everyone glare at our hero.
As well they should.
They're annoyed that they now have to read an extra thing on top of like 170 pages he offered them for the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, also, what class has back-to-back days like that in college?
I'm not necessarily sure he's saying back-to-back days.
Like
he does
just
just say class.
Okay, so it could be 48 hours. It could be, yeah, okay.
Yeah. If this is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, then they're going to resolve this God question by week 1.5 of class.
Resolved. Yeah. On day one of a low-level, elective level philosophy class. And to which all the other students are like, we just fucking want to learn bare minimum 101 style philosophy, get through our tests, and no one's concerned about them. It's literally all about Josh and his beliefs.
I just want to recap everything really quickly. Josh is in a philosophy class with a teacher who doesn't believe in God. Fine. All's well so far.
Yeah.
The teacher wants everyone to write that God is dead on a piece of paper and sign it. Okay. We've gone way too far and it would never happen in a philosophy class, but one might be able to make an argument that it isn't completely insane or asinine.
Right.
Yet.
Right. If this was like God Week, which is like, middle of the semester, level 200 or something like that. You're like, just put this down on a paper, here's why. Right.
Yeah, there would have to be some reason for it.
Right.
But I could see it coming up.
Right.
Maybe it's like a
not even like, I believe this, but like, write it down because we're doing an exercise.
Yeah, like kill your darlings may be an exercise. This is a philosophy class, we're going to teach you to think. Write this thing down. You don't have to believe it.
Right.
But I need you to embrace the idea of changing your mind.
Right, exactly.
That could be a thing.
Yeah, and actually I can see that having been something that actually happened, that there was a huge uprising of Christians against because they didn't understand what was actually being talked about. Right. And this whole movie being based around one newspaper article that one Christian read and thought, what the hell are they teaching our kids?
Alright, but what happens next is Josh doesn't want to do that, write the thing on the paper. So the teacher challenges him to a debate to prove his case before the teacher of philosophy has actually taught him any philosophy. Because the next 3 classes, this first class is an intro class.
Right.
This is usually the day on which you get your syllabus and you talk about what's going to happen.
They haven't even looked at the syllabus yet.
They probably don't have their books.
They're doing late to their next class.
So, let's say the class is an hour and a half. Okay. Right? On the long side. That's a long college class. After 70 minutes of philosophy learning, Josh is supposed to get up to class and defend his entire worldview against a trained professional with a PhD.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're
all caught up. This is what's going on.
I know that the Christian persecution complex is real and very strong, but this is so absurd that no one should be able to take it seriously as a premise for a movie or even a SNL parody.
It is. It's a joke.
It's a joke. But it's what we're stuck with.
It's a joke that made millions and millions of dollars, Josh.
I know.
How many millions?
Ooh, I don't know. 60-something on $2 million?
Oh, God. They turned such a profit.
They did. It might have been 90. It was a lot of money.
Do you think they spelled profit, PH?
Back in the cafeteria, Josh is apparently discussing his dilemma with his girlfriend, a nice blonde girl.
The fucking Kathy Lee Gifford's daughter.
Kathy Lee Gifford's daughter.
Yep.
And she tells him to just drop the class and figure something else out. And she also takes the chance to move cake from his plate. Because he wants some cake. And she was like, no, you can't have cake.
Yeah, so we know she's just bad all around.
Right. And she nags him about how she came to her third choice school because of him.
Yeah, but that's fucking on her. That line pissed me the fuck off. I'm like, did he tell you have to? Right. Because if you had a chance to go to a better school, unless you're here, like, if you're here and you don't take college seriously, and you're here for an MRS degree, and you already have someone on lockdown, the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if she's here for an MRS, to be fair.
Well, I mean, like, if she didn't care about her education to the point where she goes to her third-rate school.
Well, she cares about her relationship enough that she will sacrifice.
She didn't care enough to think that they could survive a long-distance relationship.
That's true. Yeah, it's like Topanga choosing...
Don't even get me started on Topanga and Corey. They were my relationship goals until she settled.
For the school?
College.
Oh.
Yeah.
But the thing is, she never used it then against him.
No, she shouldn't. No, because she was great and they were great.
Right.
But there's no reason. They had been best friends / lovers since like second grade. They could survive her going to an Ivy League school.
But they had already discussed it and they both agreed. She just decided against it. She's allowed to make her own choices.
She's allowed to. Bad. It was a bad choice. It's not good for little girls to be watching.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. I do like that they let her get heavy.
That's true.
She plumped up and she looked just as cute as ever.
That's true. She's still
cute.
But she nags him about how she came to her third choice school because of him, and she has the next 50 years of their life planned out. And she can't do that if he screws up everything by failing an intro-level philosophy class in his first year.
This girl needs a therapist.
She forbids him from going against Radisson, but he's strong in his faith and doesn't feel like he has a choice.
Well, maybe this whole thing is because he doesn't feel like he has any control over his relationship, so he tries to gain control over this religion and class of situation.
Yeah,
because clearly he's not the pants of any sort. Not that I think men are supposed to be the pants.
Yeah,
but she is 100% controlling his life.
She's in charge.
Or trying to.
That's true.
Eating his cake. Telling him what to and to not do in class. Telling him that she has 50 years planned, whether he likes it or not.
Now, while this is all happening, Aisha, the Muslim girl, is working behind at the cafeteria, and she sees this happening. She doesn't say anything, but we notice her.
Right.
We're supposed to notice her. They want us to notice her.
They do. They want us to notice her noticing him.
And then we finally get to watch Amy ambush Willie Robertson. And it's exactly
Amy
like you said.
Blogger Amy.
She comes up to him and she's very smug and she's a real asshole.
Yeah.
But she's not very good at asking hard questions.
Not at all.
Because like you said, it's like, do you feel okay killing ducks? And he's like, yeah, I kill ducks. That's what I do. I shoot ducks.
Right.
And
you can just see people in the audience feel like, yeah, fucking stand up for it.
What we're supposed to interpret this as is she's being smug. And he's just southern and charming.
He's just being a good guy. He's just, just down home.
But
good old boy.
I know the point of it is that we're supposed to be against her. And as an audience member, I can get into stuff if it's effectively told.
Right.
But we're not against her because she
doesn't represent a real person.
Doesn't represent a real person. Didn't ask any hard questions.
No.
Was not particularly unfair.
Right. They just they set up they put up weak questions so that he would come across as having the upper hand and being the better man, being the high road as opposed to her low road.
Right. So it's the whole thing. Skipping it because it sucked.
Terribly written. Aisha? She does have pretty red hair. Sorry, go.
We're back to Aisha, and she is putting her covering back on as she waits for her father to pick her back up.
Oh, fuck.
And a nice girl comes along and tells her, you're beautiful, and I wish you didn't have to do that.
Oh, fucking A.
Which, for me, is the Christian version of you should smile more, you're so pretty.
It is 100% that, and it is so problematic. And, oh, man.
I feel like you should have just slapped her in the face.
She should have. Absolutely. Oh, my God. There's so many issues with this. The point where I'm not even sure I don't even know how to express it. Mm-hmm. And I've had time to think about this, and I still haven't really come to a way to help me.
For me, it's really simple.
Okay.
I don't see the point of the head covering. I don't agree with it. If your religion dictates that or says you should, it's a silly religion and you should not believe it.
Yeah, that's how we feel about it.
But it's not my business to tell you, you're so beautiful, I wish you didn't have to do that.
Well, no, it's like...
Because one, you may not have to. You may, in fact, want to.
Right.
For what I would think are bad reasons, but you still want to.
I don't understand religion, and I don't like it, and I don't...
Advocate for it,
but at the same time, I will always advocate for people being able to do whatever they want.
The fuck they want.
Right, absolutely. And if this was... We do know now that Aisha does not actually want to wear the headscarf.
Right, but this girl does not.
Right, this is a complete stranger, this blonde, waspy girl, walking up as a complete stranger who's never talked to her before, knows anything about her life, just interjects and presumptively assumes that the reason she's married is because she's being oppressed, and she wishes because she's so beautiful. What if she was ugly?
You're right.
What if she was...
Oh, man. Ooh, you should put the headscarf.
Oh, it's a good thing your religion requires headscarves.
Because, girl.
Yeah, you look so much better with the headscarf. I'm so glad you're Muslim.
I hadn't considered that.
That's the other way that could have gone.
That's hilarious.
And even though she witnessed Aisha didn't she witness her putting it back on? Yeah. So she saw that she had it off and she was doing it for her father, going presumptively. It's still none of her goddamn business. Right. And that is one of those backhanded compliments that gave me, the cringiest of cringes.
But in the car, Dad tries to explain why he is this way, why he does want her to wear her headscarf and other things.
Right.
And it's because none of these people who seem happy worship God the way God deserves.
He is a deeply religious man.
He is. And actually, at this point, I'm roughly satisfied with the way that they didn't try to distinguish God from Allah, which a lot of other movies would try to do.
He doesn't they didn't make him look like Jafar. Right. Just screaming and
they don't love Allah you are supposed to love Allah.
I'm very grateful that they didn't make him...
They worship this other God. Left Behind?
White devils.
Right.
Right. They could have been a lot worse with their representation of Muslims.
In a Left Behind movie,
Yeah.
would have definitely been like, they don't worship Allah, the God that we do, which is totally different and separate.
His steering wheel would have been snakes.
But he tells her that he loves her, and they head home. Josh goes to the chapel to meet Pastor David, who helps him make a decision about what to do about the Professor Radisson situation. They also talk about how probably none of his 80 classmates would step foot in this church that he's currently in, even though it is the campus chapel. So, back to that Christian persecution complex. Are we really supposed to buy that in a room of 80 people in America, Josh is the only person who goes to church?
It also feels very middle America.
Yeah, like they...
We don't know what state they're in, but it feels very... First of all, there's two people who aren't white that three people who are white? We have the Chinese exchange student.
Aisha.
We have Aisha. And then we have the mystery African.
Right.
Who just pops in to go to Disney World.
Well, hold on. There was T-Dog. He's in philosophy class.
T-Dog.
T-Dizzle, whatever his stupid name was.
I don't know the fuck what you're talking... Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But yeah, either way, this is a largely white campus.
But they want us to believe that in a 80-person room at a mainstream American college, there's only one Christian in it. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and this is a college campus that has its own chapel.
Right, and no one goes. Oh my god.
Yep, they're the minority.
Anyway, we're back to Amy, and we find out that she has cancer. The doctor gives her some straight talk, and she, in her own words, doesn't have time for cancer. But he tells her she better make time, because she's about to die.
Yep.
Josh and
we don't get a diagnosis, which is annoying. I wish we had any kind of diagnosis.
They didn't want to learn science words.
General cancer. You're dying right now, cancer.
You have general cancer. Josh and his girlfriend talk about their anniversary and the Newsboys concerts they're going to celebrate.
Yeah, this is where we find out that they actually met at church group, right?
Yeah.
So she's,
a believer, but she's not hardcore like he is.
Apparently a believer, yeah, but...
She's one of the 80 people in his class that just aren't
right,
she's like church.
She's a convenient Christian, I guess.
Which is, a constant, it's a thing.
Yeah, I used to only go to, after I left the faith, I would go to Christmas Mass at a Catholic church because it's fun as hell. Mm-hmm. I'm allergic to it, but it's fucking a blast.
Now, she apologizes for being a jerk about everything yesterday, but then she realizes that he's actually going to go for it and try to fight against his teacher. She gives him an ultimatum that he has to choose this fight or her. He's non-committal, and she walks away unhappy. Back to the pastor couple. They're going on vacation, but they keep running into mishaps. Womp, womp, womp. Aren't you amused?
Fucking A. And by the way,
their car won't start.
Their car won't start.
That's it.
And whatever, we'll get to it. It comes up again.
Mm-hmm. They're going to get a rental.
They're going to try.
Now, it's time for our hero's first attempt at proving that God is toast not dead, guys. Mm-hmm. He is, predictably, because it is his first time ever speaking in front of a large group, probably. It is his first time doing it in front of this group, we know.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been taught any philosophy.
None.
But he's awkward and uncomfortable. He says the goal is to put God on trial, and Radisson can be the prosecutor, and he will be the defense. His first strategy is to talk about the creation of the universe, and how the Big Bang is exactly how one would expect the universe to begin to exist if God was in fact the originator of it and said, "Let there be light."
Sure, yeah.
We never see anything jump into existence from nothing, but atheists want to make just one small exception for this one event. After someone points out that if God created the universe, then who created God? Josh answers that Christians don't believe God was created at all. Okay. Which is apparently supposed to be persuasive.
Sure.
Because
we just don't deal with that. We try not to think about that.
It's like, look, a bird!
Yeah.
All right, next point. So...
moving on.
He then claims both theists and atheists are burdened with answering the same question about the origin of the universe, but that outside of God, you'd be hard-pressed to come up with an explanation. Except he just explained what the alternative explanation was to the class, to the audience of the movie, to everybody witnessing this conversation.
Being what?
The Big Bang Theory. Yeah. He's already told us what it was. God is not necessary for it.
No, but at least, this is not one of those, New Earth arguments. Where,
Right.
yeah, at least he is embracing the idea of the Big Bang, but just adding God into it, which, is a good argument. That's a good argument.
Mm-hmm. Radisson interjects and points out that Stephen Hawking just recently came out in favor of a self-designing universe. And Josh doesn't have an answer for that. But he's at least honest about it.
Yeah.
Of course, Radisson, as an atheist, is not going to let that simply slide. And he's a huge jackass about it, when he should be applauding his philosophy student for being able to admit, I don't know. Because that is a thing people need to learn to do instead of always pretending they have an answer when they simply don't.
Right. Accepting that you don't have answers
is good.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a positive character trait.
It is, indeed.
But he's an atheist and a professor, so he has to just rub salt in the wound. And class ends around here. And Radisson follows Josh into the hallway and threatens him. Which, if for some reason someone doesn't think that Radisson should be fired immediately for all of his asinine behavior before this, he should be for this. Because he says he
Although
will...
he does wait till there's no witnesses.
Right.
So it's a little he said at this point.
But,
But at the same time, he does have a class full of witnesses being like, he's letting this kid just, talk for 20 minutes of the class I'm paying thousands of dollars for. Yeah.
Yeah, and he tells him that he will fail him.
Yeah.
Pre-law isn't even really a major, which everyone knows, by the way. You think Josh doesn't know that pre-law is not a major? You can't sign up for pre-law. Everyone knows that. They will tell you that. Anyway, he's like, pre-law isn't really even a major, and I'm going to fail you, and I'm going to be really excited. It's going to ruin your whole fucking life, and fuck you, I'm going to fuck your girlfriend, too.
There's no way that this would be the first complaint about this professor.
Exactly.
He's got issues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he doesn't say he's going to fuck his girlfriend.
Yeah, or
it seems
just
like the sort of thing he would.
stab him directly in the face.
Right.
I'm surprised violence hasn't already come up.
He's like, young, impressionable students love older professors. I'll find your girlfriend, I'll fuck her.
Yeah.
Because fuck you, Josh.
That's how I got my first girlfriend.
We'll learn that later. All right. Josh's girlfriend finds out that he has been doing this, and so she breaks up with him for being stupid and selfish, in her words.
Right. I have to know what their other arguments leading up to this have been. In their lives together. They've been together since what? Middle school? So, there was implying a long time.
He wanted to stop putting it in her butt.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't let him because of Jesus.
I feel like he wanted to make sure that they didn't have sex. And she was like, just, if you don't fuck me soon.
That's better.
Yeah. I feel like, this is her being frustrated with him and his devoutness and weird dogmas. Yeah. This was bubbling
She
up.
at one point grabbed him by the shirt and she's like, here's the thing.
Yeah.
You're gonna fuck me.
You're going to fuck me. We're getting married. I have 50 years planned.
He accepts his breakup for Jesus, and she's never seen again. Mm-hmm. Ever. In this entire movie.
I didn't look it up, but I'm very curious as to how Kathy Lee's daughter's career has grown or lapsed through this.
We then catch up with Aisha, and it's revealed that she is a secret Christian because her brother takes her iPod and sees that she's listening to a sermon by Franklin Graham, which is gross.
Gross.
Because, ew, Franklin Graham.
I can't imagine him being introduced to Christianity with somebody like him.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially, here's the thing. Billy Graham?
Yeah.
He's a pastor. He's a religious dude. He wasn't my favorite person.
No.
Wasn't a piece of shit.
Cult leader.
Was not a piece of shit, really. He tried his best not to be. I'm sure he had some really horrible opinions about things. Franklin Graham? Only a piece of shit.
I don't know anything about Franklin.
It's just weird to have, to be a downgrade from your parents.
You mean like the Kennedys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just...
They're like the Kennedys of televangelism.
Yeah. How'd you do that? Why are you worse? How did this happen?
Right.
You're supposed to improve on things.
Assassination should be more of a thing in that community. Just gonna throw that out there.
Stop using your superpowers, Hillary.
Uh-oh.
Aisha swears little brother to secrecy, and then we see Dean Cain and Amy the blogger out at a fancy dinner. They both have big news, and he wants to go first because he's just been named partner. Because, again, he's a fancy businessman.
Fancy, sociopathic businessman.
She tells him that she has cancer, and so he breaks up with her. He's sorry about her possible impending death.
I don't think he really is, Josh.
But he can't be bothered to even finish dinner before he dumps her and leaves.
Josh.
No, he leaves the room. He doesn't
Josh, cancer was not part of the deal.
He does say that, but I just want to be clear. He doesn't even get his food.
No.
They probably haven't even ordered.
He noped straight out of that restaurant.
He didn't even...
He left tire marks leaving that restaurant.
He may as well have burned the place down behind him because he's like done with this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't feel for her whatsoever because there is no way that this man has not been straightforward from the get-go.
Like you said, you want to see the arguments they've had before this,
right? Exactly, just like the other. Like, this is not their first time disagreeing or her being surprised he doesn't have feelings. I feel like she's already witnessed him like strangle a puppy in frustration.
That was how they met. She was at a shelter covering a story, and he was going in the back room and killing puppies.
Yeah, just killing. But I
had a rough day.
Yeah, he was just like, I had a bad deal. Like, deal fell through. Got to murder a couple puppies. And she's like, well, you're handsome.
Right. And now she's like, you're dumping me?
Like that TV Superman.
You're dumping me after I get cancer? He's like, you met me killing puppies.
Right. Yeah, he's like, there's not been one moment where I wasn't doing me.
All right. We also see Josh in the library, and he meets Martin, the Chinese exchange student, for the first time, and they get a chance to talk about Christianity. And the good thing for Josh is he gets to talk to Martin / the audience as though he's a child, because Martin grew up in China and doesn't have much exposure to Christianity.
He speaks rough English, so he must be dumb.
I was more charitable. I just thought it was because he's Chinese, and Chinese doesn't really have...
Nope.
But yeah, you also could be because they just think Chinese people aren't very bright.
Yep.
David A.R. White and his African lover get a rental car delivered to them, and as soon as he tries to start it up, it won't start because they're still hijinking. Boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, their whole storyline is, damn, we want to get to Disney World.
Yeah.
Ugh. And then not even getting that upset about it. I'd be so fucking mad. Like, if I'm if I have, like, a vacation, I'm looking forward to, and 2 cars have not worked for me. Also, they just saw that car we drove up to them.
Yeah.
The car clearly works.
Yeah.
And he tries to turn the key, it doesn't go. Try something else.
Yeah.
David A.R. White's
Literally
reaction is like,
else.
yeah, David A.R. White's reaction is, oh, well.
Whoops.
What would your reaction be, Josh?
I'd be pretty irritated.
Would you be irritated, or would you be like, well, let's look at the engine. Let's let somebody else
I would open
it. Would you try anything
I would try to jump
else?
it.
Right, jump it. See, like, is it making a noise?
Yeah.
Are the lights coming on? And then it's just like, crank, nothing. Oh, well, we're not going on vacation.
My favorite part of this scene is they do their weird love bug thing, where it's like, God is good all the time, and all the time.
The
God
Africans
is good.
there just, like, to settle, like, calm him down.
Yeah.
I guess.
But they do that whole thing, but it makes the delivery guy, the rental car guy, visibly uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, that is the best part.
He's just like he has this face, he's like, oh, gee, I don't want to watch these 2 guys, like, foreplay.
Yeah, you're like, what is happening? What's going on?
Are they gonna fuck in this car?
Did they break my car?
And he's at one point, he's like, look, I don't know what's happening. I just want to go. Can I just go?
Can I go?
I just want to not be here with you guys.
I'll bring you a car tomorrow. Like, I don't know what else to say.
We also now realize that Mina, the girlfriend of Professor Radisson, is Dean Kane's sister. We know this because she calls him and tells him to go see their mother who has dementia.
Right. So there's the Love Actually connections.
Right.
Breaking through.
Now, he doesn't want to do it because she has dementia, and what use is she to him? But it's just a conversation that has, and it will come back.
Sure.
Radisson and Mina are getting ready for a dinner party, and she's left the wine in the trunk of the car. We also find out here that Radisson, as Hillary alluded to earlier, is deeply unethical because he started dating her when she was still his student. Not a student.
Right.
His student.
Actively his student.
In his class.
Right.
But
it's
also,
okay. He's an atheist. He doesn't have morals, so how would he know better?
Further still, he's super smug about making himself date her. Because he literally says, and I made myself date you.
Yeah, but he lowered himself to
her level.
Yeah, when he lowered himself 20 years to be okay with dating her.
Now, she expresses concern that they are unequally yoked, which is a Christian term about being in a relationship with someone who doesn't share your particular brand of religion.
Yeah, which is new to me. I never heard that before.
Yes, and he accuses her of, quote, reading again.
Yeah. He's a professor.
He's a professor of philosophy. They have to resolve this because otherwise it's going to drive a wedge between them.
Oh man, yeah, they should resolve this. One problem that they have.
Now we cut to Radisson's fancy dinner party, where we find that he and his colleagues talk about his debates with Josh Wheaton, and we are supposed to believe that all the professors fall on the same side of the issue, despite the fact that even among philosophers there is disagreement about the existence of God.
Right.
My philosophy teacher.
Yeah.
I had 2 primary ones.
Right.
One was an atheist. One was not. this is a thing that would come up.
Yeah.
And if one of them decided to debate a student in the class, the other would almost certainly say, what the fuck is happening?
Right. They would call each other out. Hopefully.
What are you doing?
Yeah, in reality.
I doubt they ever discussed it because it's honestly not that important.
No, if this were actually a dinner, they'd be like, why are you talking about your class right now? This specifically, they're like, why is the entire point of this dinner party you forcing a student to debate you?
Mm-hmm. But also, you're fucking insane.
Yeah, well, hopefully it would devolve into that.
But I mean, the God question isn't particularly important.
Oh, right, no. I got you.
I disagree with people on that on every point. Guess what? We never talk about it, because guess what? I don't care.
Right, no.
It's not important to me.
Not important, no.
What other people think about things that don't matter.
Yeah, agreed.
If you're not going to vaccinate, that's important. You should vaccinate your kids.
Fucking.
I will fight you.
Vaccinate your kids.
Physically and verbally and mentally. Mina interjects and points out how obviously one-sided and unfair it is to make a freshman student have this big debate with a PhD in philosophy in a philosophy class.
Yeah.
But Radisson contends that it's fun, so that makes it okay.
Yeah, he's just having fun being a psycho.
His colleagues also apparently find his antics amusing, instead of literally anyone else in the room pointing out that he's a piece of shit.
Right.
Because that's what friends do, right? They just support you no matter what.
One of the major themes of this movie, and I'm assuming others in this realm, is like the deep anti-intellectualism.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, which is really unfair to Christians and those of the Christian faith.
Yeah.
To plant, like, intellectualism as opposed to Christianity.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I were a Christian, I'd be deeply offended by this.
Right. Like, so what you're saying is I shouldn't learn things.
Right.
Okay. So Radisson proceeds to talk down to Mina in front of an entire room of his colleagues. And then she brings out the wine, and it's been cooked because she left it in the trunk, and neither of them went to get it.
Right.
Which was weird.
Yeah, it was.
And Radisson makes sure to talk down to her even more until she leaves the room crying.
Yeah. He treats her like the help. She never even sits down at the table. She just brings them drinks and food like a slave woman.
It's the fucking
While he belittles her in front of adults.
Yeah, and nobody says anything.
No one says anything.
Like, if I
no
was
one
at
even
this...
looks visibly upset by it or, like, bothered. Like, they don't cut to somebody and be like, what the fuck is going on?
Like, if I'm in this room and this is happening to me, I have to fight that man.
Right.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Because, you're going to sit here and try to embarrass somebody in front of an entire room. I have to fight you. We have to fight now.
No, we're talking about this. One. Two, my natural reaction would be like to no longer talk to him, only talk to me, and make her sit next to me. And actually probably pour her a glass of wine, take her out on the back porch, and be like, what the fuck is going on here?
Right. Do you need me to fight him?
Do you need an out?
Do you want him to go out his living room window?
Do you feel unsafe?
I will throw him out his window for you.
I have a couch. Like, that kind of a thing. Somebody needs to intervene here because it's clearly an abusive situation.
Right. Amy is back at the hospital getting an MRI to officially see how bad it is, and it's real bad. She's actually dying since it appears to be terminal.
By the way, like, that with no actual information.
They don't tell us this.
No, we see her react to somebody, like, saying something to her. No actual diagnosis again. No actual, you're dying, this is why, this is how.
Right.
We're just led to believe she's dying, like, now.
Right,
right now.
The way I interpret it is she is terminal.
Right.
Whatever it is, it's soon and she's dying. This is not just like, I have cancer, so I'm dying. This is, you are dying.
Right.
You also have cancer.
Yeah, I wish I knew anything else. I wish I knew enough about cancer to be able to guess as to what her diagnosis could be. Anyway.
I mean, any cancer can be terminal.
I mean, yeah, but like, I guess, but she also doesn't seem to have had any symptoms.
Yeah, but that's the shitty thing about cancer sometimes.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, she had symptoms enough to go to the doctor. It seemed like she was going on purpose.
Maybe.
She wasn't just like there for a checkup and they're like, this is weird.
I mean, she could have just been for their checkup and they're like, your blood's weird.
But then they wouldn't have known she had cancer right away.
It's true. So. All of this seems too quick anyway.
Yeah, well, it's convenient.
Whatever.
And now we're back to Josh doing his second presentation in class. He cites Stephen Hawking this time, hoping to push back against Radisson. He quotes Hawking as saying, philosophy is dead. This proves slightly embarrassing for Radisson, but I'm not sure why, because Stephen Hawking is an expert in astrophysics, not philosophy.
Right.
What do I fucking care what a guy who's not a philosopher has to say about philosophy if I'm a philosophy professor? It's like, guess what? Shaquille O'Neal thinks the Earth is flat. What do you think of that, geology guy?
Yeah, he's
like,
a name.
He's a basketball player. What the fuck do I care?
Right. God. Oh, shit. It's like, no, wait, what is a... It's like saying Freud's opinion matters.
Mm-hmm. In an evolutionary
debate. Yeah. It's almost as if they don't know what the difference between different scientists are, or different science.
Like, this guy was smart, right? Does he count? Like, yeah.
Here's a smart guy you think is cool. What if I told you that he has an opinion about something completely outside his realm?
Yeah. But okay, that's fine. Radisson is embarrassed. Josh then talks about Darwin and evolution, and says that without a guiding hand, even evolution couldn't work in the time period that it is proposed to work in. No. But of course, what really happened is God just made everything all at once.
Which makes more sense. Definitely
makes more sense. Definitely.
Yeah. A snap of the fingers makes more sense than deeply complicated, slow, progressive evolutionary science.
Now, Josh seems to have gained some of the upper hand on this one, and in the end of the class, he and Radisson have a showdown in the empty classroom, where Josh asks him what happened to him, and Radisson reveals that his mom died and he blames God. Kevin Sorbo gives an inspiring and well-acted monologue where he concludes with...
He said sarcastically.
He did. Life is really a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury and signifying nothing.
It's so dramatic. It's embarrassing.
In the meantime...
I wish he still had the long hair.
Now, in the meantime, Mina is talking to Pastor Dave about how Radisson is a pretty shit boyfriend, and he advises her to take solace in God, and your boyfriend can suck it compared to the big G.
Yeah.
He doesn't say that, but he may as well.
Yeah.
Because he's as lame as anything I just did.
No, just try. Yeah. No, lame. Lame's good. Lame's a good word.
Now, this is where we hit the dramatic high point of the movie, maybe. Because we see Aisha, and she's been ratted out by her little brother. Her dad breaks into her room, sees her listening to some Franklin Graham, and beats up on her, and commands her to express her fealty to his God. But she refuses, and is thrown out of the house.
Yeah, this is where I lose a little bit of the respect for the dad.
Oh, a little bit? She said sarcastically.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, so... they were doing a good thing by making it seem like he was just a different type of religious dad, and he was fine.
Yeah.
He loved her. He wanted the best for her, even if the movie and the audience disagrees with what is actually best for her.
Right. He represented pretty much any deeply devout religious father.
Right.
Muslim, Christian.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
But now...
he looked similar to me to a lot of super devout Christian fathers.
Right.
Who try to control their daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so until now, when beatings are happening.
He broke into her room. Threw her on the floor.
Yes. Then kicks her out of the house.
Throws her out of the house. Right.
Yeah, physically removes her from the house. Without, like, just give the girl her shoes, maybe? Shoes? A purse?
Right.
Does she have her ID?
I don't know.
She can't do anything.
But yeah, so there's a nice bit where he was a loving, if not overly religious and traditional dad, and now he's an abusive monster who abandoned his kid over what I would count as literally nothing.
Literally nothing.
And, I mean, he's sad about it. He does cry on the stairs.
Yeah.
But that's not enough to undo any of this.
No.
And while the movie doesn't say it, it certainly seems like a criticism of his religion over the preferred religion of the movie, when it could easily be read as a criticism of religious people in general.
Right.
Especially given what we know about people growing up in Christian communities and then falling out of them.
Right.
All the people I know who've been kicked out of the house by their family were either, like, into some really dangerous shit or stopped believing in their God.
Right.
Now, I don't know that many Muslims growing up, so,
No.
you know, I didn't have a lot of...
But honestly, this depiction
Right.
of a Mormon father does not sound much different than a lot of the stories I know of people who have tried to leave their faith
Exactly.
and been kicked out of their whole families,
Exactly.
like completely excommunicated, sometimes violently.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, you said Mormon. Now, we skipped a brief part in the movie earlier where Martin, the Chinese exchange student, talked to his dad in China, who is also a businessman, it appears. And his dad was just like, what does your professor think? And Martin said, he thinks there is no God. He's like, just agree with your professor.
There's got to be an irony here about businessmen and them being evil when, like, the right wing has a tendency to really, really trust corporations above a lot of other things.
Yeah.
You see that?
I just thought he was doing the self-preservation, just do what your professor says, get your A.
Well,
and,
no,
like,
that's for sure. But like, this is two businessmen now
Yeah.
that are just like, no, don't think, don't be religious, be business.
But we're back to Martin, and he's talking to his dad again, and he's beginning to think that the arguments for God that Josh is making are making some sense. Dad tells him to stop talking about this because you never know who's listening in communist China where he is.
Yeah.
Amy tries to update her blog, telling them that she knows that she's going to die. But instead she has a breakdown about how much dying would suck, and she can't even update. Mina goes up to Professor Radisson at work and dumps him in front of his friends, which is pretty rude, but he also richly deserved it.
I don't even think it's rude. I think it's the only choice she had.
That might be true, too.
Yeah.
You
definitely don't want to break up with somebody like that in private. It needs to be, you need to have witnesses.
But, his friends, it's how? You know what I mean?
I mean, definitely his friends.
I'm not saying, she shouldn't have done that. Yeah. I'm saying he 100% had it coming. It's just also
but I don't even think it's, a vindictive thing. I think it's self-reference.
No, it was the first time she saw him, and she was like, fuck you, I'm getting out of this.
Also, just in a self-preservation way, just make sure that she's in public. Mm-hmm. He can't react violently. Now,
this actually proves your point a little bit, because his line is he doesn't accept the breakup.
Right.
And he seems to think that insisting on that point is going to help anything. And it's a very, very strange reaction.
It is.
He says, I don't accept this at her as she walks away.
We're not broken up. I haven't said that we are broken up. He doesn't,
It's I don't know if you know this, but this is not up to you.
It's not how it works. Yeah, he's going to fucking kidnap her and put her in a basement.
Well, the good news is we know that's not going to happen.
We do know that.
Foreshadow.
Yeah, that is foreshadowing. You're right.
Now, Aisha talks to Pastor Dave about being kicked out of her house, and he reassures her that everything will be okay, but he doesn't seem to give her any actual plan.
Right, or
like a place to live.
Right.
Or a sandwich. Resources to get an ID.
Everything will be fine. Just pray correctly, and you will have an apartment.
God will just figure it out.
Yep.
For some more foreshadowing, it's time for the next and final class session. And Radisson and Josh take the elevator together, where Radisson warns him that he's going in for the kill today, and he does his very best to be intimidating. He used to be Hercules, damn it.
Yeah, I wish he said that.
That would be great. I used to be Hercules. Real Kevin Sorbo. Josh's argument this time is that evil is the most potent atheist weapon, and he gives a version of the problem of evil. Essentially, if God is all good and God is all powerful, why does he allow evil to exist? And that is a rough version of the problem of evil.
Yeah.
It's this thing is supposed to be omnibenevolent and omnipotent. And people just fuck up everybody all the time. Wars, famines, plagues, droughts. He's
God
not doing
does
anything.
seem to like rich white people more than other people.
And it's a thing that is an actual argument. Josh counters this argument with what he claims is a remarkably simple answer. Free will.
Uh-huh.
Essentially, people who freely love him will live in a world without evil in eternity, and the others will be destroyed and or tormented in hell. This, of course, leaves out the fact that not everyone who doesn't love God is necessarily evil, no matter what definition of evil you use for it. But okay, that's fine.
It's very black and white.
Right.
Yeah.
This also does nothing to cover what the actual problem of evil more regularly covers. It is less so about people who do evil things, and is more often the problem of suffering. Because evil is one thing. If you consider people are just assholes sometimes, they ruin things.
Yeah.
And
you can believe in evil.
And you can make that argument about free will. You have to have free will because otherwise you don't have a free choice in choosing to worship God. So evil is allowed because people are allowed to make their own choices. But that does nothing to counter the fact that droughts, plagues, parasites that eat eyeballs,
right.
Mosquitoes that kill entire populations.
Amazon that goes right up your urethra, and I don't have nightmares about that every night.
It's not a matter of actual people being evil. It's a matter of natural disasters, which are presumably under the direct control of God.
Right.
Destroying an entire city.
Well, AIDS, he made AIDS for the gays.
Right.
Right. And then a lot of plague and famine happens in Africa for its own reasons.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's the thing.
It's all to teach us a lesson. So
he claims to have this remarkably simple answer for this complicated question, and yet he just... Does he think that people are causing tornadoes? Is that what's happening?
I don't think he's...
Somebody's just flapping their arms real fast, and it's like, haha, tornado!
Butterfly effect.
Butterfly effect.
I should have smashed that butterfly.
So it's supposed to be so simple, and yet he does such a horrible job of doing it.
No, not an argument.
He conveniently sidesteps the suffering point, because in the movie wouldn't it be so darn convincing, as it already is. I'm convinced, aren't you convinced?
Totally convinced, yeah.
Well, if you're not yet, we're gonna go further. Radisson rightfully points out that it's convenient to have the ultimate intention to destroy evil, but until then, have fun with plagues and holocausts, which is actually a good point. Josh counters back with a moral argument that without God, there is no anchor on which to base your morality and no reason to be moral anyway.
There it is. Oh, that argument pisses me the fuck off.
And the fun part for me is that he quotes Dostoevsky to support him in this point. If God does not exist, then everything is permissible. And not just permissible, he says, but pointless.
Right.
Now, this is a somewhat common argument from apologists, like you just pointed out. You've heard it constantly. And I love that the movie quoted Dostoevsky here, specifically because of how fucking stupid it was to do.
Yeah.
That quote, and there is some argument about whether it's translated properly, but it's a perfectly valid paraphrase at least.
Also, but whether that has nothing to do with the problem with it.
It's a perfectly valid paraphrase. Is from a character in a novel.
Right.
The Brothers Karamazov. A fiction novel.
Right.
A fiction novel presented as a fiction novel. So the character who says this is a made-up character.
Right.
It's not even what Dostoevsky actually believes. So, if we can play this game, allow me to quote a apologist that many people consider quite talented and look up to, C.S. Lewis. One of our great enemies at present is the church itself.
Yep.
C.S. Lewis.
Quote C.S. Lewis.
Boom. I win. You may as well go burn all those books from C.S. Lewis.
Counterpoint.
Don't look it up. I'm certain I'm using this quote exactly as it was intended. So you better go get rid of those books.
Yep.
Because if we can just make random shit that's not supposed to represent your actual point to prove your point, I can win all day.
I regret my Aslan tattoo.
Ride me!
Yes, sir. I love those books.
Tell me what your particular issue with this silly argument is.
With this argument or with the quote issue?
The argument, if there is no God, there's no moral framework on which to base anything.
Well, my issue with that is this is where me as an atheist takes personal offense. Mm-hmm. Because by saying that God is the only reason and a belief or religion, a dogma, whatever, is the only way you can be a good person, first of all, that makes me a great person. Mm-hmm. Because I have deeply formed moral and ethical beliefs that I base my life on.
And you're not doing it just to avoid hell?
I'm not doing it because I'm afraid of going to hell or because I'm desperate to go to heaven. I'm doing it because I am an empathetic human who can feel the pain of others and thinks that it's better for the world and society to be a kind, giving, caring person. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. But I try real hard and I care.
I can't wait to see.
By the way, if you are a person... If the only reason you are not murdering and raping and pillaging right now is because you're afraid of hell, you are a bad person. Mm-hmm. You're a garbage human being.
And any God which is omniscient,
right,
should put you in hell anyway.
Right. If there's a God,
because you're a piece of shit.
Right. If there's an omniscient being who can see into your heart, they know that you're a garbage person.
Yeah. So the bad news is you're going to hell anyway.
Exactly.
Unless your God is just deeply immoral, in which case, fuck that guy.
Right. And I've had this argument with humans before.
Of course, I think the concept of hell is deeply immoral, so there's no winning for him.
No, agreed.
But, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Deeply offended.
Moving on. Josh asserts that everything is pointless without God, and they can choose to have a choice. And he accuses Professor Radisson of taking away the choice of his students. This is obviously untrue, of course, because any young Earth creationist who's learned enough about geology and biology to get a passing grade will tell you can easily just answer the questions properly on a test or a assignment and then believe the same thing. Right. Radisson did not... Writing God's dead on a piece of paper does not suddenly make you not believe in God.
He's not making you sacrifice, like doing an animal sacrifice or anything.
He's not going to follow you for the next 40 years of your life and make sure you never start believing again. Radisson claims as a counter that he is trying to free them from the mind virus of Christianity. Josh accuses him of not promoting atheism, but anti-theism, as in, God does exist, but I hate him.
Well, which is true. That's exactly what Radisson's
That's exactly what Radisson is. Radisson points out how much he's going to enjoy failing Josh.
Right.
And Josh asks him who he's really looking to fail, me or God? Now he's really got him on the ropes now. And he follows up by asking Radisson why he hates God. He's seen the arguments and the science, and clearly it supports the existence of God. So why does he hate him so much? Radisson eventually reveals that he took everything from him and he killed his mom, and yes, he does hate him.
Yep.
And the final nail in Radisson's coffin comes when Josh asks him, how can you hate someone who doesn't exist? Which is a stupid fucking question.
We disagree on this.
It's just...
No, I feel like he makes that, like, that's the exact point. He's right that Radisson is not an atheist.
He is correct about that.
Is anti-theist.
I just hate that particular question.
Yeah.
How do you hate something that doesn't exist? Very easily, actually.
I don't think that's true, because what's your argument?
I don't know. Darth Vader?
Okay, do you actually hate Darth Vader? Do you wake up and think, I hate Darth Vader, I need to bring him down? Somebody needs to take down Darth Vader.
If I didn't know how the story ended, sure. Like, Thanos. Thanos is a great choice.
Okay.
I really wonder how they're going to stop Thanos.
Do you think
Fuck
he's
Thanos. No.
So you don't consider him a threat. You're not mad at him.
Yeah, but I want to know.
You read a story and you're like, man, this is like this is the type of person that I am just against. Like, I disagree with this
It's weird to me
theology.
that someone who reads more than me doesn't understand that you can have an emotional investment in things.
You can, but not in a hatred.
Yeah, you can. Why not?
I don't hate Voldemort. He's not real. You can't hate something that's not real.
You can absolutely hate something that's not real.
I do not think that's true at all. Like, I can't hate...
Well, the good news is, your opinion doesn't matter about whether I hate something that doesn't exist.
No, I just don't think you could... I don't think you actually hate these things.
I mean,
like,
how would you even determine that?
What, me with you?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't. No, I have no idea if you...
So
but I feel like you are exhausting yourself if you are hating things that don't even exist.
I hate a lot of stuff.
So much to hate when it's real.
I hate many things.
You can hate Trump. You can hate pollution. You can hate babies. But you can't hate... Like, I don't see the point in wasting your time hating something that's not even real. I feel like Radisson does believe in God, and he hates God because of it, and that's
right. That's true,
the problem.
but you're still conflating the 2 points.
No, I'm not. So you genuinely hate Thanos, and you think about him daily.
I think about...
He keeps you up at night.
No, that's not what...
Like,
you can hate things that don't keep you up at night. I hate... As you said, you can hate things that are real.
Yeah.
Do they keep you up at night? Do you hate anything at all, Hillary?
I don't really hate anything.
Okay, so maybe you just don't know what it's like.
I'm afraid of rubber bands.
Maybe you just don't know what it's like to hate. I hate anti-vaxxers.
You can't... I mean, okay.
Yeah.
You're allowed to hate, I guess so.
Yeah.
You hate ignorance is what you hate then.
Yeah, but it doesn't keep me up at night because I rarely sleep anyway.
But it gets you all fired up.
Yeah, in a heartbeat.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense to me.
And if someone defends Thanos, I will fight them.
Does Thanos or Vader...
I will fight them.
How many times have you fought over this?
Once. It came up once.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're fucking insane. Are you kidding me? It's a thing.
I think we use hate in different ways. I think my idea of hate is completely different than yours.
Well, you don't hate anything, so you don't even know.
Agree to disagree.
You said it.
No, I don't know. Because I can see human beings are hard for me to hate because what I tend to hate is just an unwillingness to, like, willful ignorance. I hate willful ignorance. I don't hate individual people. It's just people who are unwilling to learn and think for themselves. That's what I hate.
Would it help you in any way if I tell you that my hate is generally counterbalanced by some degree of appreciation? Like Alex Jones, worst person ever. He's an active plague on society.
Agreed.
I think he's hilarious. He's so fucking amusing.
I cannot find him amusing.
It's just fine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should, but I hate that man.
I get that.
Also,
yeah.
I just can't stop.
Yeah.
He's hilarious to me. I just wish he didn't exist.
All right, I get that.
So, Thanos.
Yeah.
Hate him as a concept, as a character. Also, I told you I'm going to watch everything he's in ever. It's just a thing.
Okay.
And read it and just absorb it and just be like, take it into my soul.
Yeah. So we stand on different sides
worst.
of this.
Yes.
I don't believe you can hate something that doesn't exist.
I think you can.
Interesting.
But, it's fine. The students then vote because it's finally over. And Martin is the first to say that God is not dead. And eventually, the entire rest of the class joins him. Radisson, shamed and humiliated, leaves the room. And Martin follows Josh out so that he can get saved. Now, the very much in love pastor couple finally get a working car. And they get ready to go on their road trip. Dean Cain goes to visit his dementia-addled mother for reasons that are unclear.
I don't know what convinced him to do so. He doesn't care, clearly.
But he basically gives her this big rant after he goes on about how he's the meanest person he knows and his life is awesome and he doesn't need God at all. And she believed her entire life, and she wound up miserable and with dementia, despite being kind and praying. She eventually has a moment of lucidity and excoriates him, saying that his sin is like a jail cell that's nice and comfy, and he has no reason to live. And it's all a trick from Satan until he dies and goes to hell, where he's going to be punished forever. She then doesn't know who he is again, and he's shocked that she was so coherent so briefly.
I'm probably annoyed because she went away again before he could actually argue.
Yeah. But this is supposed to be one of those moments where it's like, that's how I live my life. I have a comfortable life of sin, but I'm going to burn in hell.
Yeah, he's going to wake up tomorrow, quit his job, and join the church.
It's just...
Sure.
Whatever. Yeah, okay. Like, I'm glad you believe it. Also, you're dying and I'm home, so, like...
Yeah, whatever.
Who's really winning?
It's hard to say.
The pastor buds are stuck in traffic inside their new working car, and they're outside the Newsboys concert that Josh and his girlfriend were supposed to go to together. And we see Amy inside going to ambush the Newsboys for yet another one of her super great interviews.
Super random.
She does a super piss poor job of really asking any difficult questions, but she does it with a real bad attitude, so we know she's a real tough cookie. They ask her where she finds her hope, and she says that she's dying, and they offer to pray with her, an offer that she readily takes. Alongside her, Amy, every character except Radisson is at this concert, so we know something is going to go down here. In his office, Radisson reads a letter from his mother before she died about how God is great and that he should live his life in the joy of the Lord. He uses this letter to decide that he must make up with Mina, and so he heads to the Newsboys concert to do so.
Classic abuser behavior.
That's true. I must win her back.
No. It's like when you're like, I'm going to be nice really, like, for a little while now, just so, like, she gets comfortable again and thinks that I've changed, just so I can continue the behavior.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I know.
Are we speaking from experience, Hillary?
It's impossible to say.
What? What does that mean?
I refuse to acknowledge.
Okay. Live your dreams. As this is the dramatic conclusion of this film, it does begin to rain, and Radisson is struck by a car in full view of Pastor Dave and his life mate. The African pastor is also apparently an African doctor, because he knows he's about to die upon simply feeling Radisson's chest a little bit.
More science.
Blood is filling up his lungs.
He puts a hand on the man who's lying there, potentially dying, and says, blood is filling his lungs. There's no way to know that. Just he looks fine.
Yeah.
He looks fine. There's no blood on screen. This is not a rated R movie.
Right.
There's no way to know that. The reaction from here only makes me angrier. Please continue.
He tells Radisson that this is his last opportunity to turn to Jesus, and that this was a mercy, because he could have died instantly. These people are gross, right?
Gross.
Super gross.
Oh my god. Yeah. I see that you're dying. You've been blessed with more minutes of pain.
But Radisson does take the chance to convert, so now he's on his way to heaven. Yay!
Thank God. Thank God. He had that time of severe pain and torture.
There's this thing I read a long time ago. It was this guy who was talking about this movie, and he talked about this ending specifically, and it was... he carries a small knife on his person just in case he needs it for anything throughout the day.
Right.
He's like, if I get hit by a car and you come up to me to try to convert me to any religion, I'm going to stab you with that knife.
I'm going to stab you in the goddamn throat.
I'm going to stab you as hard as I can.
I'm going to be like, please get out your cell phone and call 911. Will somebody call the ambulance? Did anybody call the ambulance in this
Call
scene?
911. I'm about to stab this motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. We need 2 ambulances.
I'm a better person than you. I'm going to let you live. I'm still going to stab
Call 911. We need 2 ambulances.
But yeah, it's just like... And you know what? Can't blame him. I would stab you too. If I had a knife on me and I happened to be hit by a car and you're going to convert me. I might just get up like a fucking zombie and bite you.
Yeah, if you really believe this or whatever, then you can do your last rites thing, whatever. I'm not going to be bothered by that. Make sure you're actually doing something to help me in the moment, though. Call 911. Do chest compressions. Hold the blood inside my neck if that's the problem. Like, just do something to actually help, and you can pray as much as you want.
If you're trying to give me last rites while I am dying of some weird accident, I'm going to say, come closer. And I'm going to grab you.
And just cough blood into their face?
Yes, but first, I'm going to bite their ear off.
Oh, I like that.
Just grab them by their shirt and just pull that whole fucking ear off their face.
With Mike Tyson, Holyfield route.
I will die with blood in my mouth, because fuck you. Professor Madison has died, and we have to sit through a Newsboys performance where Josh and Aisha meet up. And he's like, I guess I can throw her one, because he's riding high on God juice.
Yes, and she is fucking riding high on Josh. She has got a crush.
Not yet, but she's gonna, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think so, unless he gets over his whole actually having sex thing. Also, he does not seem interested in her whatsoever. She's just...
No, she gives him a look, or he gives her a look.
Not really. He's just like, oh, hello. Oh, you used to be Muslim, and now you're not anymore.
This might be the actor who can't emote.
I don't think they had a chance in hell. She is... Yeah.
Josh also gets a shout-out from Willie Robertson and the Newsboys, who tell everyone to text everyone they know the message, God's not dead. After the Pastor brothers receive this message, the African man takes an opportunity to say, what happened here tonight is a cause for celebration.
Over a dead body.
Yes, he's literally standing over a corpse. Pain.
Watched a man die.
Pain, yes, for just a few moments. But now think about the joy in heaven.
Someone murder this guy.
He's an obscene person.
Obscene.
He's a gross human.
Yep.
I hope another car comes, he circles around and, like, hears this.
Yeah.
Circles around, hits him. Fuck
yeah.
it. Pastor Dave can bury his friend.
Jaw on the ground about this whole situation.
The movie ends with encouraging the movie audience to send that same message to everyone they know. God's not dead. So if in, 2012, you got a message from one of your friends telling you God's not dead, this is what it came from. Yeah. You should also stop being friends with that person if you haven't already.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've never been more grateful for my choices and friends.
But it's a happy ending for all. Josh is going to get laid, the Newsboys are going to be rich, Amy's going to die, or is she? No. And Radisson, is the evil atheist, is now Radisson, the dead ex-atheist.
Right.
Everyone wins.
He can hurt no one no longer.
So, the movie's finally over, Hillary. Mm-hmm. What are your final thoughts?
Thank fucking God. Thank fucking God it's over.
This movie was a mess.
And let it be said, I am very grateful that I never received one single text like that. Which means I have made all the right choices when it comes to people in my life.
I believe I received one.
Did you really?
I think so.
Who?
I don't remember. I'm not friends with him anymore. Like I said.
Obviously.
Yeah. I knew what it was from because I had seen the movie. Yeah. I'm just not stupid enough to...
Was it a person who was doing it sarcastically?
No.
Oh, no.
I believe I got one.
Out.
I sent one to one person sarcastically.
Right.
And they're like, fuck you. I was like, hee. But no, there was a genuine...
2012, is the hashtag a thing yet? I don't know when Twitter started. Was it like a hashtag God's Not Dead thing?
No, you're supposed to text it. So maybe not.
So maybe
Twitter
not.
wasn't a thing
It was
yet.
pre-Twitter because then it would have been a hashtag thing.
Huh.
It would have,
Gross.
I know.
Anyway, the movie's a fucking travesty.
It is.
It is an insult to movie making.
It's an insult to Christians. Let's be
honestly,
fucking real.
Like,
this is an insult.
We have established, I think, that we can be even-handed with this stuff.
Yeah,
VeggieTales was fun. I had fun with it. Oh my god,
yes. And not only that, just like, Christians are humans. Atheists are humans. We're all fucking humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason to... This if anything, that this movie incited arguments and discord between atheists and and Christians that doesn't even really exist. You can I find that most non-believers could give two flying shits about what you believe in.
Yeah, and I'm the same way.
Actively trying to get you, I don't care. And I think most non-believers feel the same way.
Yeah.
Like any people who feel persecuted are hanging with the wrong people.
Yeah.
Or are believing shit like this.
Right.
And they might, if they really paid attention, they'd realize that in their actual day-to-day life, no one is actually...
Oppressing them?
Or
persecuting them?
Exactly.
Or give a shit at all?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So whatever, let's all be one.
Let's all be one, baby.
Let's all be kind and wonderful to each other.
I occasionally ask people their religious beliefs because I'm curious.
I ask sometimes.
Guess what's never happened?
Right.
Me saying, "Oh, well, that's ridiculous."
No. I ask sometimes if I'm about to say something that could be construed as insulting.
Yeah.
Or what's the word that I'm thinking of? Sacrilegious. Mm-hmm. Which I do. Like I am a pretty open person in a way that I will say things that are sometimes a little blue. Mm-hmm. But I also like to make sure that nobody around me is going to be deeply offended.
Mm-hmm. So you're nicer than me. I don't usually care. I don't insult your religion. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, no.
But I'm not insulting it, like, to offend you.
No.
I'm just insulting it because it's a ridiculous thing.
Yeah, no, I'll say what I believe, but I'll also say I don't care what you believe.
Right. Like, you can believe whatever you want. I'm not trying to convince you otherwise.
Right.
I'm just allowed to make fun of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Atheists don't usually try to convert others to atheism.
I don't care at all.
I don't.
If you have questions, I will answer your questions genuinely and honestly.
Absolutely.
If you don't have questions, then it's not my fucking business.
So there you go, audience. If you walk up to me and Josh in real life and want to start a conversation, we're down.
Only high fives.
Just get ready.
Right. All right, but we still have one more thing we have to do.
Oh.
It's the best and the worst.
Okay.
What's the best?
Now I feel like a broken record because the best is I got no texts from that time period. Yeah. That's it. I got nothing else.
The best for me was Aisha is real cute.
Yep.
That's it.
Well, that's such a boy point of view.
That's all I got going for me in this movie. Hold on, there was one thing I said earlier I liked. What was it?
Oh, the way, like, the beginning of the Muslim father
That's
situation.
The one. The beginning of it before they turned him into an unfeeling monster.
Right.
That was the best.
Our initial, introduction to a Muslim father was actually okay.
The veneer of humanity they tried to give this man.
Right.
Before they stripped it away.
Correct.
And made us hate him.
Before they ruined it all.
Hey.
Hi.
Hate him.
There you go.
He's a fictional character. Hate him.
I hate him. I feel for him.
I hate Radisson. I hate real Kevin Sorbo.
I don't hate any of those people.
What was the worst?
Oh, the worst is how deeply offensive this is to both Christians and atheists alike.
Yeah.
It's just across the board. It's not. It doesn't even feel well-meaning to me. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel like they just dropped the ball doing their best. It seemed like a movie that was actually out to incite, like, disdain between two sects.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm gonna channel the worst part for me, the philosophy.
Yeah,
all of it is done poorly or misrepresented.
Right.
Or as a philosophy major, I know this stuff.
All you children out there listening, don't shy away from philosophy.
Yeah, you can be a podcast host.
Dream big, kids.
Dream big. You might have a podcast.
You could also be in your parents' living room. Talking into a microphone to nobody. Yeah,
the philosophy is so fucking terrible. It's just...
Do you feel like your entire major was misrepresented?
Oh, yeah. Just
completely.
The concept of rational thought was misrepresented.
Yes.
Honestly. This is an embarrassing...
Very good point.
Show for anybody.
Yeah.
And the writer of this movie had to have done some research on philosophy, because none of the information they say is wrong.
Right.
It's just the actual work is bad. The
understanding of it. There's no understanding.
This is D- philosophy work.
Yeah.
You might pass your class with a D.
Yeah. Yeah, with the D.
Right. No one...
I mean,
wait, do you mean dicks?
Yeah. That's the best way you could pass that philosophy class.
A philosophy professor would be able to tell that you are at least doing your research.
Yeah.
They would just be like, but I think they're really dumb. But I can't fault them for being dumb. They're trying.
Honestly, you can't even be that mad about a dumb professor because they should be pretty easy to manipulate.
No, the student in this case, if you turned in this work.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The quality of the philosophy in this movie.
Let's say that the screenwriting for this movie was actually someone's philosophy final exam.
Right.
Fail.
They failed the exam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not good thinking.
No.
It's not good. It's not rational. It's not reasonable. It's not believable. It's not cogent. It's so bad.
It's nothing.
Yeah. And
I'd say it was a waste of 2 hours.
Part of the reason I like this movie is because I hate all of the philosophy so much that I can't stop watching it.
You just love feeling. You love anything that makes you feel.
I like feeling things.
Yeah.
This movie makes me... Every classroom scene infuriates me.
I get you. Yeah.
But I can't stop.
But it affects you, and sometimes that's all you need.
That's it.
Hillary, it's time to talk about what we're doing next week.
God's Not Dead Part 2.
Ugh.
Oh,
beauteous.
No.
On the bottom of that card that I just handed you is a voodoo password that will let you watch God's Not Dead. I did not pay for it. It was a credit I got from T-Mobile Tuesday.
What?
Shout out.
Sweet action.
So I did not pay for it.
Thank you. Thank you for not paying for it, and thank you for giving me a free pass, because I would not pay for it either.
But this movie stars the one, the only, Clarissa, and she's going to explain it all to us.
Yes, Melissa Joan Hart.
Alongside
Woman of my childhood.
Alongside Sabrina the Teenage Witch, we also get to see Jesse McCartney, David A.R. White, and Pat Boone.
When is David A.R. White gonna die?
Well, he's still alive, and he's only like 40-something.
Ugh.
But
He's the worst.
Pat Boone is also in this movie.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he's a famous Pat Boone. I don't know. People know who Pat Boone is. I barely do. So get ready for what I'm going to call quite something.
Okay.
I have seen it once before, as you know.
That's open-ended.
Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes gives this film a rating of 8%. With the site's consensus stating every bit of the proselytizing lecture promised by its title, God's Not Dead 2 preaches ham-fistedly to its paranoid conservative choir.
Excellent.
Now, on the other hand,
yes,
audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average rating of A on an A+ to F scale.
Uh-huh.
But Deadline Hollywood did note that faith-based films have an easy time gaining an A on CinemaScore.
Right, because they do not have a high standard for these types of movies. There's a chance these are the only movies they watch.
To close out things, to maybe give both sides of the story, Roger Patterson of Answers in Genesis, who runs the Creation Museum, stated that it was much better than the first due to the absence of evolutionary ideas that were in the first film, among some other things.
So it's better because there's less truth. Gorgeous.
So that's the movie we're looking into.
Ugh, maybe I will laugh out loud in that museum. Maybe I'll go there and do a stand-up bit.
And remember, if you like the show, please give us some of those 5-star reviews on whatever podcast app or service you are using, and tell your friends about us any way you can, because we need you.
Yeah.
Links to everything are in the description of this episode, and please go to the website and send us a comment or a question.
Sure. Yeah, please. If you have any suggestions, too, we like suggestions. Is there something out there, some
That's
media
true.
that we have not covered, or media that you think would be great for this podcast?
That's right.
Let us know.
But as always, thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. We like you a whole lot.
We like you so much. Bye. I now want to present to Hillary what we're doing next week.
Okay, you have it written on a card. We're doing VeggieTales?
We're doing VeggieTales.
Yay!
I looked up what
gift.
I looked up what the very first 2 episodes of VeggieTales were. And That's
Yeah.
what we're going to do.
Yay!
One is called, I don't remember.
I'm genuinely joyful right now.
Good.
I'm not being sarcastically happy. I
Good.
love VeggieTales. It's delightful.
As almost everyone hearing this,
Preemptive apologies for the amount of singing that's going to be in the next episode, because I like this.
as almost everyone hearing this knows, VeggieTales requires no introduction. But in the event that you do need one, let's give a brief overview.
Okay.
VeggieTales is a computer-animated children's series about talking vegetables who learn lessons through and from the Bible while singing silly songs and charming the pants off of you,
Yeah.
supposedly.
They charmed pants off me.
I've never seen it before.
I also hate pants. It's not what
I
I
have
do.
never seen VeggieTales.
I know. I can't wait.
Anything you want to say as an introduction?
I was grateful for families that I was babysitting for who had these, because I was happy to watch this stuff with their kids.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause I was not a great babysitter.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's life was in danger, but I hated it.
Mhm.
And I use children's programming as my way of handling
Perfect.
it. Yeah, because I'm a giant child.
No, that's fine.
I'm an average-sized adult and a large child.
Bye.